So apparently Joseph Parker versus Bryant Jennings is in the works. It doesn't say here when they're looking to put it on. What does it? Oh no, it does. Okay. August 18th in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Atlantic City? Do they still put on fights there? Excuse my ignorance, but Atlantic City used to be one of the big fight capitals way back in the day. So many of Mike Tyson's fights were in Atlantic City, New Jersey, at the convention hall. So yeah, be good to see some fights return there. For those of you who don't know, Bob Arum promotes Bryant Jennings now, and he also promotes Joseph Parker in the United States. Higgins is obviously Joseph Parker's promoter outside of the United States, but in the United States, it's Bob Arum. So this is a very easy fight to make. As far as how I see this fight going, it's and Bryant Jennings, by the way, I've been talking about fighters who didn't have many amateur fights. Bryant Jennings didn't have many amateur fights. I think he had about 17 amateur fights at a pretty low level. And go look who Bryant Jennings was fighting in his 16th and 17th and 18th fights. He was fighting decent guys, solid guys, in competitive fights on paper. So anyway, that's an aside. Parker versus Jennings. I got Parker winning. Jennings is improving. In his last fight against Joey DeWayco, I noticed that stylistically he's changing. I believe he's still with John David Jackson. And Jackson is trying to get him to use his reach a bit more. He's trying to get him to stand a bit more side on, especially when he's at long range. Stand more side on, get proper extension on his punches, because this is something he wasn't doing so much in his earlier years as a pro. Get more extension and just be more technically correct and utilize his physical attributes better. That's what I noticed in the DeWayco fight. But he's still a work in progress in that regard. He's still a work in progress. So we'll see how he develops with it. I just think Joseph Parker is a bit more talented than Bryant Jennings. Bryant Jennings is a tough guy. He's a trier. He's still green, actually. He did well to go 12 rounds against Klitschko. I think he would have learned a lot from that fight. His performance against Luis Ortiz was disappointing. From a strategic point of view, to try and slug it out with Ortiz on the inside so early in the fight was just suicide. It was suicide. I can't for the life of me understand why he did that. Someone who's so much better than you and stronger than you up close, an old guy, you want to make him use his legs, move around the ring. Don't stand right in front of him and give him his best chance at beating you. You got to be a bit more savvy than that. Normally, Bryant Jennings is savvy, but in that fight against Ortiz, man, that was a really poor tactical performance. Really poor. So, he might be better against Joseph Parker from a tactical point of view. He certainly was against Joey DeWayco. He used his height and reach a lot better against DeWayco. And DeWayco is a dangerous guy in the pocket. DeWayco's only like 5'10", but he's a good counterpuncher, right? In some of the gyms and whatnot in Philly, where DeWayco's from, apparently people are calling him the white James Toney. And you can see some stylistic resemblance to James Toney there. Obviously nowhere near as good as Toney, but you can see some stylistic resemblance. And he can be a tricky, crafty customer, Joey DeWayco. So he does have to be handled with care, especially by a guy like Bryant Jennings, who's not a massive puncher. So, yeah, Jennings improving, but I still think Joseph Parker's going to be a bit too talented, a bit too strong, a bit too quick with the hand speed, and I think Joseph Parker will get the job done. Bryant Jennings has been hurt a few times. He's obviously been down against Luis Ortiz and stopped. I'm not sure if Joseph Parker will stop him, but I do think he'll win. That's what I'll say. I do think he'll win. It's a competitive fight, though. It wouldn't be at all a shock if Bryant Jennings won, but I do see it as kind of like 60-40, maybe 65-35 in Joseph Parker's favor. So I see him as a pretty comfortable favorite in this fight, in my mind. So I got Joseph Parker in this one. I want to say on points, because Jennings has been in there and survived crises before. Although he didn't against Ortiz, I'm sure he's learned from that. And yeah, I'm going to say on points for Joseph Parker. Let me know how you see the fight going down and playing out. Drop your comments in the comment section below. It's that man, I'm out.